I am absolutely shocked that Tennessee lost this bad. No offense, Vols fans. I actually kind of like Tennessee, but I picked Ohio State to win, but not like this. Ohio State absolutely embarrasses Tennessee. This is an 8 seed versus a 9 seed. They embarrassed the Vols 42-17 in a game that, had you told me it was going to go this way, I would have said, "Hey, you've been hitting the NyQuil a little too hard, if you know what I mean." This is shocking. You look at Tennessee, you look at how they've played this year. They've had some head scratchers here and there as far as losing to Arkansas, but they've had some good moments like beating Bama. So as I said, I picked Ohio State to win this ball game, but never, ever in a million years did I think that Tennessee would lose by 25 points. I want you, let me put this into perspective. Penn State smacked around SMU, and people would go, okay, that's SMU. First year ACC team. No one really bought into them. They beat them by 28 points. Tennessee loses by 25 to an Ohio State team who can't beat the team from up north. You know, the team that is the defending national champions, but they don't have their coach. They don't have most of the same players. Ryan Day is literally playing for his job, coaching for his job. And it just seemed like this was going to be a close game, and it was just terrible. It was absolutely terrible that Tennessee would not only lose like this. And Vols, I'm not trying to rub it in. I'm just telling you, I'm this shocked that Ohio State did what they did. This is a Big Ten versus SEC matchup. And I can't believe it. I really can't believe it. Vols fans are they're at a loss. They're at a loss. Nico, the redshirt freshman, who I believe has a tremendous upside. Unfortunately, this young man, he barely cracked 100 yards passing. 14 of 31 for 104 yards. Now, some of the big news in this game is Dylan Sampson got injured. The incredible running back from Tennessee. He got injured. They brought in Peyton Lewis. The guy had 10 carries, 77 yards. And let me tell you this, with everything that was going on, good job for him. Good job for him. Brew McCoy was the leading receiver on the team. 4 receptions, 40 yards. On the other side, Will Howard, 24 of 29, 311 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Trevion Henderson, 10 carries, 80 yards, 2 touchdowns. And, of course, Jeremiah Smith, the unbelievable freshman, 6 receptions, 103 yards, 2 touchdowns. And I'm going to tell you my thoughts as an outsider, as a Clemson fan looking at this game. And trust me, I'm still licking my wounds after that Texas game. But Tennessee played scared. Tennessee's defense played scared. They played too passive on Will Howard. And I know someone's going to comment, well, you've got to understand that they were afraid of what? Getting the score ran up on them? I mean, it happened. At one time, it was 21-0 Ohio State. And there was a moment where Tennessee was beginning to climb back in the game, and they just couldn't do it. But Ohio State went up 21-0 literally in the blink of an eye. It was 21-0 at the end of the first quarter. And it's just interesting to see. How this game turned sideways. It turned sideways really, really quick. Just some quick stats for anyone who gives a care. Ohio State had 473 total yards, 317 in the air, 156 on the ground. Tennessee, 256 total yards, 104 in the air, 152 on the ground. Tennessee didn't have one turnover this entire game. Normally when you see a blowout like this, it's like, oh, turnover city. Nope. In fact, Ohio State turned over the ball. That was the interception thrown by Will Howard. I can't remember if it was tipped or not. I can't remember that. I'll tell you how bad it was. The yards per pass, Tennessee averaged 3.4 yards per pass. That's terrible. And I'm not here dogging Tennessee. I'm saying literally as a college football fan who pulls for, well, obviously another team, I'm sitting here watching this game, and I've watched Tennessee play a decent amount this year. I'm not an expert on Tennessee, not going to act like I'm an expert on Tennessee. But I no. This hasn't happened to them all year. This hasn't happened to Tennessee all year. And they got destroyed by the Buckeyes. And you know, when you look at the loss, when you look at the loss to Arkansas, Tennessee had way back when. They lost 19-14 in Fayetteville. That was a head scratcher. They play at Georgia. They lose 31-17. That was a 14-point loss. Folks, again, this was a 25-point loss by Tennessee. The second worst loss in this entire first round. If you would have told me this team, this game, one of these teams would suffer a 25-point loss, it would be the second worst loss, and it would be between this 9 and 8 seed. You know, ABC gave them the prime time. They had Clemson playing over on the CW against Texas. I think they had SMU and Penn State playing on the local PBS channel. But, man, they gave this Tennessee versus Ohio State game the creme la creme. They had Chris Fowler and Herb Street calling the game. It was a 25-point blowout. Tennessee just seemed like the moment was way too big for them. Ohio State lives to see another day. Let me rephrase that. Ryan Day lives to see another day, but there's a problem. They have to play Oregon. They have to play Oregon, and they're going to have about 10 or 11 days before they have to play Oregon. That game's going to be on January the 1st, 5 p.m. I think that's the Rose Bowl. Yeah, it's the Rose Bowl. So this is going to be a Pac-12 versus Big Ten matchup. And I know folks, you're like, Brian, Oregon is not in the Pac-12 anymore. Pac-12 doesn't even exist. I know. They're in the Big Ten. But what I'm saying is this would have been probably the lineup in, well, except for the number one thing. But anyway, in a Rose Bowl of the old Pac-12 and the Big 12. But now it's Big 12 versus Big 12 in the Rose Bowl. And I know it's hard to beat a team twice, but Oregon, and who knows? Oregon looks pretty good. Now, the line has already opened, by the way, for this game, and we're 10 days away, so things are going to change. But OSU is a 1-point favorite as I speak. But if you would have told me, again, and I know I've said this over, I'm in shock, y'all. I really am. I'm really in shock that Tennessee got absolutely destroyed by Ohio State. And I know some Buckeye fans are going to drop in here, and of course you're going to start with some of your overconfidence, and that's, that's totally fine. The country's used to it. Ohio State, they're keeping their coach around for at least one more game. So, crazy game. The playoff is set. This is nuts. I can't believe it. But hey, Tennessee fans, look, you won. You won. Let me see. Let me go back to my screen. You won 10 games this year. You made it to the college football playoff. And you may be upset with Heupel, and I don't blame you. I know a Tennessee fan very well who is not happy, and I don't blame him. I don't blame him whatsoever. At the same time, this Tennessee team is way better than what Tennessee has been since, well, the Philip Fulmer days. And so, does Heupel need to straighten some things out on his side? Yes, he does. Yes, he does. He needs to straighten some things out on his side, and they're going to have to help young Nico grow. Remember, he's a redshirt freshman. But I mean, this was crazy. So anyway, get into the comment section. A bunch of people in here. It's absolutely crazy. But a lot of people's questioning this and questioning that. But I just still can't believe. it. Troy, go Buckeyes, go. Who's overconfident? Have you ever met some of the fan base? I mean, you're nice, Troy, by the way. Troy, you're nice. And if you have my Ohio State, Eric Boggs, my old buddy over at the OHIO podcast, he's a realist. But I'm just telling you, there's going to be a lot of one. So it's interesting. It's interesting. Well, folks, y'all take care of yourself. And if you haven't subscribed, I hope you will. It is free. Y'all take care of yourself. And as always, go Tigers.